Good morning, guys. We're going to start with the Korres Anti-aging Primer that's silicone free, and we're going to put this all over the skin. Next, we're going to be taking the Tarte Clean Slate Primer. This is really good for smoothing out any places where you might crease throughout the day. Next, I'm taking the Coverfx Illuminating Primer to give my face an all-over glow, and this is really pretty with the Josie Maran foundation that I'm going to be using. But if you have any imperfections, I like to take the Amazonian Clay Concealer, and this is going to work really well with this foundation I use. It's very full coverage, but it's also super luminous. I was super surprised in the coverage because I thought it was going to be more lightweight, but this worked amazing with the concealer. They blended together, but the concealer didn't lose its pigment, and I am in the shade RG50, which is actually lighter than the shade RG45. So you might want to go in store if you're looking at this foundation because the color range is a little tricky. Next, I'm using the Becca Eye Brightening Concealer, which is a pinky tone. Normally, I go for something more salmon, but this really brightened my under eyes while also correcting, and I really liked how it paired with the Tarte Shape Tape. This is in the shade Light, and I use this in triangles under my eyes. I also use it to prime my eyes as well. And then I do kind of like a U shape on my forehead, down the center of my nose, on my lips, and I'll also go back and do a upside down U on my chin. Right now I'm using everything with a beauty blender to blend everything out. I was trying the Real Techniques one, but I found that this one is just so much squishier. This one is new, so I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but I'm going back in and just highlighting a little bit more to really make my cheekbones pop. Next, I'm baking with Kat Von D translucent powder. I really love this stuff. It melts into my skin. It doesn't grab onto any dry patches, and it really lasted well throughout the day. I did post an Instagram post on this, and I told you to throw away all your other powders because I think this is so good. Now I'm taking a Lexi 205 blending brush. In the tutorial, I'm going to be using the Anastasia shadows in Bueno Fresco first all over the eye, but in my previous post that I did about my birthday makeup look, I just took blushes and bronzers that I'd used all over my face, but I realized this palette would work perfectly for it. So whatever you have, if you have a bunch of like bronzers and blushes laying around in front of you, you could just use those, or if you have this palette, it would work perfectly too. Then I'm going to be taking raw sienna and burnt orange all over my eyes and just doing windshield wiper motions. We just want it to be a diffuse look that kind of brings a little bit more attention to the eye and a little bit more depth. Then I'm going to be taking this kind of sparkly pink shade and popping it in the center of my eye just to open them up and then blending that out. Next, I'm taking the Charlotte Tilbury Rock & Kohl Iconic Liquid Liner in Bedroom Black. This is a really nice liner, but I do think that you can probably find just as good as one at the drugstore, but I do like the Charlotte Tilbury line, and I have this on hand. Next, I'm going to be taking Cypress Umber, also from the palette, on a Sigma E30 brush, just to blend that out so we don't have any harsh edges, and then taking a fluffy brush and dipping into any colors like raw sienna or the Bueno Fresco, just to blend this out. Next, I'm going to be doing brows. I recently got this new Benefit Precisely eyebrow pencil in the shade 2, and I'm really loving it. It helps to give me a defined brow, but still have it feathery and natural looking, not so block-like. This is a smaller pencil, so it does help to make it more feathery. And I also make sure I go back in with a spoolie a few times just to make it look more natural and that we don't have any harsh lines, and try and make the front of your brow more faded. On this 522 tapering highline brush, I'm just going to be dusting off all the excess powder that we put on. Next, we're going to be taking the Coverfx Bronzing Drops in Sunkissed. I'm going to put this on the back of my hand and use the Beauty Blender. I'm going to be taking a few drops, pouncing it on the back of my hand, and then putting it directly on my skin, and going to be bronzing all the high points of my face where the sun would normally hit. I love cream and liquid products. They just melt into the skin, and I thought this bronzer was so beautiful. It didn't give off a super like orangey cast or anything, just very bronzed and glowy, and I believe this should be a staple in everyone's summer collection. This went extremely well with the bronzer I'm going to be using today. I would say these are like a match. One's powder and one's liquid, and they look amazing together. After this, I'm going to be taking some more of that Kat Von D powder. I'm going to be dusting it all over my face just to make sure that I don't have any like wet parts on my face from like the foundation or liquid bronzer, so I can go in with the Smashbox Suntanned Bronzer. This was really popular a couple years ago, so you might actually have it in your collection, and it is so beautiful, and I wanted to get it back out again because I just forgot how amazing this bronzer truly is. It is matte, though I do think it has a few like satin sheens to it. Now I'm going to be taking the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. I use this every day. It is the best bronzer, but I strictly probably use it more for highlighting because it has just a neutral and cool enough tone to it that looks amazing, especially for contouring your nose or any like sides of your face to contour your cheekbones. I am using the JD Weighty Contouring 180 Glam Kit brushes. These are absolutely amazing. You should definitely check them out because they have changed how I've done my makeup and just make it look so much more flawless. Now I'm going to be baking under my cheekbones just to give me a little bit more structure and also kind of where my smile lines are. Next I'm going to be mixing 3 blushes, MAC Mocha, Makeup Geek Infatuation, and Tarte Dollface, all over my cheeks. This is what I used on my eyes the first time I did this makeup, but today I'm just using it as a blush because I had a pan of blushes and just thought these would all look pretty together. Next, I'm going to be taking probably the star of the show, the Becca Champagne Pop. This is probably the most beautiful highlight ever. If I could recommend any highlight to you, it would be this, hands down, especially when you use the Anastasia A22 brush. It's just a match made in heaven, and it will give you the most intense glow ever. But if you're not into that, you can just swirl your brush around in like circular motions and it's gonna diffuse it a little bit like this, so it's not quite as intense or like a line on your face. It's more blended. I'm also gonna be highlighting on some other high points of my face, like my nose and the center of the nose, also on the cupid's bow. I also like to do this at the high points of my brows and also along the brow bone just to connect that to the cheek highlight. I think it looks really pretty, and this gives my face a little bit more structure because sometimes I can look pretty flat and I want my cheeks to really pop in all my other features. Now I'm going to be taking the Tarte eyelash curler. This is a great eyelash curler. I had a Revlon one forever and I finally got this one because it's just so cute. It was in their holiday collection and I really love it, and probably how cute it is really is what I love about it, but it is a great eyelash curler. Now I'm taking the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes Mascara, and this is a really great mascara. I'm someone who I probably know about nothing about mascara because I just feel like they don't really work, so I don't ever invest in them, but this one's really great. I recently got a raved about mascara and I ended up returning it because I was not impressed, and then I tried this and I realized how great of mascara this really is. Now I'm going to be dusting off all that excess baking powder with the Luxie 522 tapered highlighting brush, and this is a step you want to make sure you do before you leave the house. Don't forget. Next I'm going to be wiping off that Bite Beauty lip mask, which is amazing for moisturizing your lips, but I don't want this on when I'm putting on my Makeup Forever liner in 3C because it'll just slide around, but by wiping that off you still have the moisture. Make sure you really take your time when you're lining your lips because this is really important, especially mine are pretty uneven, so when I line them correctly they look a lot better. Next, I'm going to be taking Dose of Colors Stone, and I love Dose of Colors lipstick formulations, but I found that if I use my finger in patting motions while putting on the liquid lipstick, it feels even better. It's not as like crepey on the lips, and it looks really pretty throughout the day.